Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Tin Man Squirrel channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor, and today I'm reacting to my second Spooky Vibes video. And this was 3 chilling 4th of July horror stories. So without further ado, I'm going to turn these lights off, move the camera back up here for you guys, and let's get this reaction on the road and in the bag, shall we? Alright, everybody, here we go.
The 4th of July was supposed to be a time for celebrating, right?
Right.
Well, not my story. Last year, my good friend Aaron was having a 4th of July party at his parents' beach house in South Jersey. For context, I was a 17-year-old female at the time of this story. I arrived at Aaron's house with my good friend Becca. There was going to be drinking and partying, and we planned to stay in one of the guest bedrooms so we didn't have to drive home. The party was going great. There was music, beer pong, and even country music karaoke. In total, there were about 30 people. 2 hours into the party, I was a little drunk. Becca and I had separated. She was talking to some guy in the kitchen, and I was talking to some guy named James. James was cute. He kept putting his hand on my shoulders and hands, and being very playful.
First of all, I like celebrating the 4th of July, but I wouldn't be partying hard like this. And the fact that this girl is saying that she's drunk, and there's this guy that keeps on touching her weird, is a red sign that she needs to find a way to get away from him quick. Because I know once he gets too flirty with a drunk girl, something is going to go down, for sure.
He leaned in and asked if I wanted to go watch the fireworks with him on the upstairs balcony. Again, I was drunk, he was cute, and I didn't see a reason not to. But here's where it gets bad. James and I head upstairs to the master bedroom balcony. We step outside, and the view is amazing. You can see the ocean and hundreds of people on the beach, waiting for the fireworks to go off. I was about to tell him to come see the view, when I saw him lock the balcony door. Even in my drunken state of mind, I knew this was a red flag. I politely asked him to unlock the door. It's making me uncomfortable. That's when I saw how drunk James was. His eyes were glazed over, and he honestly didn't look like he heard a word that I said. He took a step closer to me, cornering me on the tiny balcony. He said that I was beautiful, and that I was his girl, and that I'm going to love making love to him. He leaned in and aggressively tried to kiss me. I pushed him off and said to stop. And that's when he pulled out a pocket knife. He said I need to shut up and do what he says. I started screaming for my life, but the fireworks show had begun, and my screams were drowned out in the explosions.
Dang. Talk about bad timing, right? When people have too much to drink, they start acting like maniacs. It's obviously that this girl is not interested in this guy named James, and it seems like he wanted to rape her right there in the balcony while fireworks are going off and nobody would be paying attention. Man, this is crazy.
No one could hear me scream. He took a step closer. I was so terrified. I was considering jumping off the balcony just to escape. I was about to do it when the balcony door yanked open, the lock breaking. Becca and 2 other guys stepped out and saw James holding the knife and me crying and cowering in the corner. The 2 guys immediately attacked James and pinned him to the ground, taking the knife from him. Aaron eventually came up and threw James out of the party. He profusely apologized to me and explained that James was a friend of a friend, and he had no idea he was this psychotic. All of James' friends disowned him that night. They literally threw him out into the street and said they would never associate with him again. I personally thought that was punishment enough. I decided not to get the police involved. Becca stayed with me the rest of the night. I was actually pretty calm after it happened, because everyone was so great and very empathetic. But, yeah, this was easily the worst 4th of July ever.
Thank God somebody realized that they were missing and ran up to that balcony to stop him from cutting her with that knife. And I'm glad that his friends disowned him. They weren't going to hang around with a guy that was psychotic and drank too much, because I hate to imagine what would have happened if they didn't. She would either have been raped or worse, dead. All right, let's get to story number 2.
I was always told that the real monsters were human beings. I think this story will prove that point. My wife Monica and I rented a beach house in North Carolina for the 4th of July weekend. This is something we've been doing for over 5 years now, and it's basically a tradition. It was an oceanfront beach house, so we sat on the back porch, drank wine, listened to some music, and waited for the fireworks show to begin.
Now that sounds like a good, relaxing thing to do. Rent a beach house and sit on the back porch and enjoy the fireworks. Somebody invited me to do that, I'll jump on it immediately. Either that or a mountain house, it don't matter to me. Sitting on a porch and watching the fireworks is better for me than just driving to a spot with a bunch of other people to watch the fireworks, because then it won't be so noisy and hectic. Let's just put it that way. And sometimes there's always people that like to break out fights in parking lots during fireworks shows, and you don't want to see that. But anyway, let's continue with this guy's story.
And when they did, they were amazing. A boat about 100 yards out to sea fired them into the sky. It was incredible seeing them explode over the dark ocean. We were both taking in this special moment when we heard a horrible scream. Like, not an excited scream because of the fireworks, but a scream like someone was dying. We looked around at all the people on the beach watching the fireworks, but no one seemed to be in danger or upset. We got up, a bit concerned, and just walked around the beach house. We wanted to make sure no one was hurt and everything was okay. We saw the neighbor, an old man, throwing away a trash bag. We asked him if he had heard the scream, but he said no. Monica and I chalked it up to kids or someone just having too much fun for the fireworks show. We went back to the back porch and enjoyed the rest of the 4th of July fireworks. Here's where things turned nightmarish. The next morning, we woke up to dozens of police cars outside the house. We quickly realized they were parked at the neighbor's house. We even saw 2 officers putting the neighbor we spoke with last night into the back of a squad car, handcuffed. Upon further poking and prodding with other people on the street corner watching what was happening, we discovered the disturbing reason why he was being arrested. Last night, the old man, whose name is Richard, executed a young girl in her teens. He used a handgun, and what was sick was that Richard was timing the shots with the fireworks, so that way no one would be the wiser. And what's even worse, that scream my wife and I heard last night was actually that girl trying to escape with her life before being executed. When we saw him throwing trash away, we were actually witnessing him disposing of that girl's body. Like I said, monsters aren't some fictional characters that hide in caves and wait to attack people. They're human beings who commit unthinkable acts of evil, and sometimes they're even next door.
I knew it. It's scary to think that you're sitting there looking at the fireworks and enjoying them, and then all of a sudden you hear like a scream noise, and you think somebody was being attacked on the beach or something. But nope, turned out to be an old man executing a girl. And it's so sick that he timed his gunshots right with the fireworks so nobody can hear him shooting her. And to think that they walked up to him and asking if they heard a scream, and he was trying to hide the fact that he just murdered somebody, so he just said no. But he was literally dumping evidence right in front of them. But I wonder who called in the cops on him, unless it was the trash collectors and they found the girl's body in the trash can. I don't know if I would get that much sleep at night if I'd known that somebody was actually being murdered right next door and I didn't do nothing. Thank God somebody did call the cops, and that guy's arrested, and he's going to spend the rest of his miserable life in jail. And I hope he burns in hell too for what he done. All right, let's get on to story number 3.
Have you ever been stalked at a family party? I have. Here's my story. Every year, my Uncle Vito would throw a 4th of July party in his backyard. He was the rich uncle, and his parties were always lit. Oh, and for reference, I was a 21-year-old female at the time of this story. Anyway, the party was going great. I was catching up with all my aunts, uncles, and cousins. I was catching up with my one cousin, Stacy. She's my age, but And I say this respectfully, the family F up. She's been in and out of jail, OD twice, and has multiple baby daddies. But despite that, I still loved her.
Yeah, even though you have a family member that wasn't raised right by their parents and they ended up being in jail multiple times and overdose on drugs and might get knocked up by different guys, they're still family no matter what. Let's just see what happens at this family cookout, shall we?
What I didn't love was the current boyfriend that she brought to the party. His name was Eddie, and when I tell you he looked like a walking zombie, I'm not exaggerating. He was pale, had sunken eyes, his clothes were super baggy on him, and he was already pretty drunk. Personally, I would never date a man like that, but when Stacy introduced me to him, I was polite and shook his hand. I mingled around the backyard, talking to other family members and catching up when I decided that I needed to go to the bathroom. I went inside, walked into my uncle's bathroom, and locked the door. I was just finishing up when I noticed the shower curtain moving. I looked to see if the bathroom window was open, and a gust of wind blew it, but the window was shut. I didn't believe in ghosts, so I got up, reached my hand for the shower curtain, and pulled it back. Inside the shower was my cousin's boyfriend Eddie, with his phone out, recording me. When I tell you I screamed for the high heavens, I am not exaggerating. My Uncle Vito and other family members rushed in. They immediately knew what the situation was, and it took every ounce of patience from my Uncle Vito not to kill Eddie right there on the spot. My uncle threw out Stacy and her peeping Tom boyfriend and said if she ever brings him back here, he will personally put 2 bullets in his skull and enjoy every minute of jail time. I'm still traumatized to this day from that 4th of July party, and I hope Stacy wakes up and realizes she can't be dating these types of men and gets her life in order. And as for Eddie, please go back to my Uncle Vito's house. I would love to see you 6 feet underground.
Whoa. I wouldn't wish death on anybody, but if they're acting like a peeping Tom and recording one of my cousins, then that person just messed up big time. And I'll be agreeing with this person right here, be like, yeah, go back to that lady's uncle. He would definitely put you down the ground for sure. Yeah, that's just wrong. I don't know why that her cousin would date somebody like that. But hopefully, like she said, she does snap back in reality and be like, oh, I can't date these type of guys no more. Stop acting like a hoodlum. Let's put it that way. Before she ends up as a jailbird for life herself because she's hanging around these type of guys. Man, it's creepy. Ooh. To think that you're in a spot taking a shower and it's private, but then somebody just walks right in trying to film. That's really messed up and disturbing. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more spooky vibe content like this. This has been another successful installment of Tin Man's Corner Channel. I'm your host, Jeffrey Tin Man Taylor. I said that's a wrap, and have a nice day, y'all.